Hello and welcome to a very, very special episode of Let's Talk Rangers, where we've got, and if you're a Rangers fan and you don't know who this guy is by now, where have you been the past couple of weeks? It's Joel Kim from KNTFootball, who specialises in South Korean football and Korean players in particular across Europe. Today, we've got Joel on to find out exactly why Rangers have triggered the €10 million, €8.5 million release clause, so we can find out exactly what Rangers are getting. Anybody new watching the videos, drop us a like and subscribe. But first of all, Joel, we'll get into it. Tell us a bit about yourself. How did you get into covering South Korean football, and what's KNTFootball about? You were telling us it's a bit of an outlet for yourself, given the birth of your son, and congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah. So I am a content creator, and I'm a football writer as well for the Korean national team and Korean national team players, especially those playing abroad. That's my specialty. I cover players who make the jump to Europe or any other league outside of Korea. And I also cover prospects, though, emerging from the K League too. And so those players that I feel like can make a jump, I release prospect alerts on my Twitter, which is on my X, which is my main social media account. And I also cover, obviously, transfer news too, where the players move around. As you can see, I'm doing for Kim Minsu and the Rangers fan base. In addition to X, I just started a YouTube channel about a month ago. A lot of my supporters have been telling me, like, you need to start a YouTube. But I'm so involved on X, as you can tell. Like, I just didn't know I could handle a YouTube channel. But after the World Cup, I needed to get my voice out. And by nature, you guys discovered it. I'm a pastor, and so I talk, I preach, and it just didn't make sense for me to kind of like take that form of communication out of my arsenal, especially when it comes to Korean football. So I decided to do it, and it's been fun. And so it's the same handle at KNTFootball on YouTube. If you guys can show me love and support and subscribe, I promise I'll definitely be releasing some nice Rangers-based content, especially with Kim Minsu coming on board. For me, Korean football started with my dad. And, it's funny because I shared that post. My dad was a pastor himself, and he was someone who was a Korean immigrant to the United States. He couldn't speak English very well, just broken English. And so me and him, we had a lot of communications issues growing up. But the one thing that we did bond over, the very one thing, apart from our passion for Christ, is football and Korean football. So my dad was the one who introduced me to the Korean national team at a very young age. And he would tell me, like, hey, come here, the national team's playing. And that was the one thing that me and my dad enjoyed together. And although I'm a supporter of many teams, especially local New York teams, Yankees, Giants, Brooklyn Nets, the Korean national team was the first team that I supported, introduced to me by my dad. So that's something that I'm proud of, and I'm thankful for my dad. He passed away from cancer in 2010, but I'm thankful for him, and I get to share that passion with my newborn son now. So yeah, it's been fun, and the journey's taken me to many places, meeting different fan bases, and now I'm connecting with you guys, and I'm really thankful and grateful for that.
Oh no, that's a pleasure, and yes, it's been great to hear all that. It definitely sounds like there might be a potential future Rangers fan already in New York over there.
100%.
But yeah, let's get into the main reason why we're on today. Kim Minsu, it's all every Rangers fan seems to have been talking about in the last week. Where did Kim Minsu first come onto your radar, and what is it in particular that caught your attention about him?
He first came onto my radar in Spain. I mean, you hear these days more and more Korean young kids moving to Europe to invest themselves, either in Germany or in Spain or in any other European countries. And so you hear of these prospects, you hear of these developing young footballers. And then Kim Min-soo was very unique because he was following the path of another Korean star, someone who's very well known, Lee Gang-in, who now plays for Atletico, the first East Asian to play for one of the top 3 La Liga clubs, Atletico. And so we've all been following Kang-in from a very young age. And to see that there was another player that was kind of similar to Kang-in, although at a different club, Kang-in was from Valencia, Kim Min-soo was from Girona, was very interesting to us. But he wasn't a homegrown product in the Korea, so like it's not like we had intimate knowledge of him. We just kind of kept tabs on his development and his progress, being trained and developed within Girona's academy. But it's been really exciting, especially in the past few years, especially as he's been really showing out in the Girona B team. I say that was a moment that a lot of us caught attention because they're like, who's this Korean guy? And he's really tearing it up, for Girona's U23 team. And then last year, it was his first time playing for the first team of a club in La Liga, in the second La Liga, in the Segunda Division, and that was FC Andorra. So that was a big test for him. It would be interesting to see if he could prove himself in that kind of level, where he's not a part of U23 team anymore. He's playing for a first team club of a Segunda Division team, and he did well by all accounts. He was one of the best players for the club. He scored 6 goals, 4 assists, and 40 appearances, and it was a very promising loan period for him. So that's when I think a lot of the fervor and a lot of the excitement started snowballing, especially last season at Segunda Division. And he had a very successful loan period to the point now where Girona put him on their first team, although they got relegated to the second division. They put him on the first team, which is huge. You don't hear many days of any academy prospect making the first team. When that happens, that's a huge thing to celebrate over. And Kim Minsu has been the starter, and Girona, and you could tell even by the reaction of Girona fans, they're gutted that he's leaving. They all look to him to be the guy for the team, which says something. So, for people who are saying, oh, he needs to prove himself, I get it. It's true. He kind of does in one sense, especially playing for a big club like Rangers. At the same time, he was a guy that I don't think we should overlook how hard he's worked to get to this point and how he has proven himself at every level he's been to. And he has earned a first team position with Girona. And he's not, and Girona fans themselves really wish he stayed. They look to him to be the guy for the team. And now Rangers have an opportunity to really benefit from him now coming on over. I think, Girona, when he was part of the Girona B team, a lot of us took notice. And especially in the past year or so, we've been really excited over him. And for me personally, my excitement level went from 1 to like 10, especially looking at him in the preseason. And I know it's preseason, but it's still play. You're still going against competitive teams. Like he went against Arsenal, and it was their third string or second string team, but he was impressive against Arsenal. He did a corner. He assisted for the only goal that Girona scored, and he just looked a different player from the other players from both squads, in my opinion. I could be biased, but he just seems a lot more confident. He seems a lot more stronger. He seems a lot more quicker, and so that for me, that's when I could just see how he plays on the pitch and think that, okay, wow, he's really taken his game to another level. And I'm actually excited to see, and I'm curious to see as much as you guys, how that will translate playing for Rangers, and especially with all the hype and the pressure, being a 10 million euro transfer, how he'll handle that. But if my knowledge of him proves correct, I think he'll do well, and I think he's going to really make you guys happy.
Exactly what we want to hear, Joel. As you said, I mean, I've obviously watched nowhere near the same amount of footage as what you have of Kim Minsu, but he does look a cut above other players when he's on that pitch. We'll come on to his attributes, but something I particularly find fascinating about this whole story that you alluded to there, and it's his journey into football. I mean, that's such an unusual step at 10 years old. Having, or your family even having the confidence in you that you are going to be a professional footballer. Like, how unusual is that in Korea for a player just to up sticks and leave? And how useful is that going to be, given that he's already had 10 years exposure to Europe as a continent and the footballing style and the culture and all that?
Yeah, honestly, I don't think it's that unusual now for Koreans. Like I mentioned, a lot of Koreans have been doing that, and a lot more. So even for my account, like I could name so many people right now that are in like the U23 teams of the Bundesliga. There's so many, but I would just be spamming everyone, and they're not necessarily national team prospects. So I'm just kind of biding my time to see when they'll step up, and if I can see that potential, I'll then platform them on my account. But there's so many, so I don't think these days is that unusual, and especially on the great revival of football in our country after the 2002 World Cup. A lot more people I feel like our country has taken football that much more seriously, and our football culture has grown, and we want our kids to be the next stars of Korean football. And I also think it's huge that we have players like Son Heung-min, who, arguably the greatest Asian footballer of all time, who represents us, who raises the level for every of our expectations and our hopes and dreams for our kids and our own Korean players. So I think all those things kind of factored into this revival of football. And and as I said before, it's not unusual for families now to make the move and hope that they're raising the next Son Heung-min or the next Park Ji-sung or Lee Kang-yen. So yeah, that's what I would say to that.
Yeah, and look, the next aspect of it is I want to know exactly what is it that Rangers have signed. You kind of touched on some of his attributes, and from what I can see in the clips and in his stats, he looks really strong, looks really quick, very direct. But the main thing, again, just with the old eye test, is he doesn't seem very wasteful with the ball. Even when he was in attacking positions, he always seemed to find a pass or get a shot off. I mean, would you say that was a fair assessment of him, or what was his main strengths?
Yeah, I would say like most Korean players, we all share like several attributes. We're very good technically, Korean players. We're very good team players. We don't cause drama, which is why like a lot of teams like love Korean players, because we come from a very communal culture and communal mindset where we respect the authority, and we're about harmony and all that. And so the interesting thing about Kim Min-soo is that he's not necessarily a product of a Korean football academy. I'm sure he has a very strong Korean ethos in him because he's Korean. But nonetheless, all these attributes are very present in him as well. Very good technically, very tidy with his ball, makes the right decisions a lot of the times, especially in the build-up plays and all of that. Everything that you mentioned is something that I would say is characteristic of most of our players. And that's why a lot of fan bases rate our players. If anything, I think that if anything, like the end product is where what fans would like to see more from Korean players in general, whether it's any of our players playing in any of the leagues, just a greater ability to translate the ability to put statistics, put goals and assists on the score sheet. And I would say that for Kim Min-soo, that would be his challenge. He scored 6 goals and 4 assists in 40 games playing for Andorra, but he now needs to understand he's playing for Rangers, and there is an expectation to win every game, and he'll need to do better than score 6 goals and 4 assists in a 40-game span. But I think he'll be up to it. I think he'll be up to it, and based on what I've seen him play in the second La Liga, I think he'll do well in the Scottish Premier League.
Especially with some of the additions that Rangers have already made to their squad this season, I think there's a couple of players that he's going to fit very well with. But and one aspect I want to ask about his game, and it's because people that watch Let's Talk Rangers know I was a defender. That was my position. I was a right back. So I'm always interested in what the winger in front of me is doing. So how's his off the ball stuff in terms of pressing, tracking? Is that a big part of his game, or are Rangers fans going to more expect him going forward more often than not?
Yeah, I think that he's a pretty complete player. I don't think he has a sharpened or matured defensive acumen just yet. I mean, just against Cordoba, there was one play where he got burned by one of the wingers, and I was like, oh, I hope Rangers fans don't see that. He just got whooped, and I'm like, okay, he needs some work there. But I mean, other than that, I think that he's a complete like vertical player. He doesn't just stay on one end, the final third. Like he drops back. He knows how to exploit space very well. He knows how to. He's always demanding the ball in creating opportunities and chances for the team as well as for others. So off the ball, it's something that I like. When I see him, but obviously at the age of 20, he continue to grow more in that area. But I think the big thing that Rangers fans should know, and I believe you guys will see right away, is that he's more than just an offensive player. He doesn't just hang out and just camp around in the opponent's half of the pitch. He is someone who can really carry the ball. He's someone who can, although playing as a winger, he can operate as an 8. I even saw him play act as a pivot against that Cordoba game, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And so that's why I say he's a real complete player in that sense. He defensively, I'm sure there's things that he can sharpen through time and age, but his ability to not just offensively be an attacker and be relentless in that, but just his ability to make plays, create plays. That is actually what I'm most impressed about. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys saw the highlights from Cordoba. There were a lot of passes that he did that didn't connect. They just needed a little bit more strength in them to connect, but just you could see the potential, like how he sees the pitch. like making these crazy through balls passes and attempting those things. I think that's really rare for Korean football players to have that kind of degree. There's only a few other players on the national team that I think can really do that. And in many ways, it's very like Lee Kang-in-esque in that sense. So Rangers, you guys are getting a player that I feel like potentially can bring that playmaking and the creative play as someone of a Kang-in with more development and more chemistry. In addition to a player that's more vertical than Kang-in as just a straight up attacker and someone who can do well in 1v1 situations and just really drive the ball forward and burn everyone, with his pace.
It's great to hear, and again, I completely agree with you. It's his football intelligence does just look that cut above the rest. Every time you see it, it's just a pass that you're going, oh, I would never have thought to make that pass, but he had a couple of those in that Cordoba game, as you said. Like, obviously, another big, huge talking point of Kim Minsu is the fee that Rangers are playing for him. Obviously, got a lot of belief in the guy that we've gone 8.5 million. It's no secret that will be Rangers, second or third ever highest transfer outlay on a player. So it must be great for Kim Minsu that a team's going, we believe in you, that we are just going to go in this early and get your buyout clause. But I mean, what is this guy's? I know it's a big question here, Joel, but what is his ceiling? Because everything we're hearing from yourself, it sounds. I mean, does this guy, if he moves to Rangers, does he have a realistic chance of making the South Korean national team?
100%, 100%. I feel like he should have made the national team as even playing for Girona and playing for FC Andorra. Like, he was producing a lot more than some of our players in the championship who just were not producing. And granted, the championship is more competitive than the Segunda division, but I mean, he was just really putting out. So I felt he should have been given consideration. But our Korean Football Association, for those of you who are not aware, is just a big mess right now. And it all kind of culminated in our worst World Cup in a long time. And so we're really overhauling everything. We're bringing in new leadership. And I do think that, and I really do hope that with this new leadership, we can change the way we think about certain players that we're not as familiar with. And players like Kim Min-soo, who didn't grow up in Korea, but have really done well overseas. And so I do think so. And I think the move to Rangers, there can be no question about it. If he does well with Rangers, if he's scoring goals, creating assists, and he's being a very influential player for the Rangers, he needs to be in serious consideration for the national team. And so I put up a post a few days ago how I said this was a very shrewd move for him, because coming to Rangers, in one essence, he bypassed his age to be U23, right straight up to national team. If he does well with Rangers, I don't think he'll be playing with U23 anymore. In the sense that, like, he'll be now brought up to the first team, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. And so you mentioned the 10 million euros. It's a lot, and I can relate with fans saying, "Oh, he's unproven for that kind of money." Second highest transfer in Rangers history. Even Korean fans are nervous. We're just like, "Oh, they paid a lot of money for him. I hope he does well." But yeah, I think that, for me personally, and I have been accused of overhyping players just because, just my passion and in just how much coverage I give a player. Naturally, there can be a hype associated with that. But if I'm just being honest, I see a lot of good things for him. I see him as the future left wing for the national team. And in my desire for the national team and our players to play for the best clubs on the planet, we've never had players play for, let's say, Real Madrid or Barcelona. For me, I think that Kim Min-soo has potential maybe one day of being able to take a crack at making it on or being recruited by a Barcelona or Real Madrid. Other players that we have, and there's very few that I say, okay, maybe they've got a chance. At his age right now and what he can do, if he continues to develop and grow, I think that he can be a history maker for Korean football. So that's how I view him. That could be overhyped. I don't know, but I like him a lot. I rate him very highly, and I think you guys should be stoked, definitely, that you all have a player like this, and that you guys beat out other clubs for that. And I think the reason you guys beat out other clubs probably was because if he went to other clubs, they would have just thrown him in development in the U21 or U23. But I do think that he's coming to Rangers with the promise that he's going to get game time, and that he's going to have opportunities to play and further grow and develop. and also the Conference League, European competition, all of that.
Oh, and let me tell you, Joel, the Rangers support, and particularly us at Let's Talk Rangers, we are all aboard the Kim Minsu hype train, and a large part of that is down to you, my man. Last question before we wrap things up here, and that is, what do you think Rangers fans can get most excited? What are Rangers fans going to enjoy most about seeing Kim Minsu pulling on that blue shirt for them?
He's just an exciting player to watch. He's a lot of fun. Just his technicality with the ball, the plays that he makes, the goals he scores, and just the intensity and the ferocity by which he approaches the game. I'm not saying Korean players from Korea aren't aggressive, but I just see something. I see like a bull in Kim Min-soo. I see someone who's just charging forward and is fearless and really tries to impress his will upon the game. That's really refreshing for me to see. And I would imagine that would be refreshing for Rangers supporters, because I've been hearing from you guys that y'all have been just playing horizontal football, and there's been big frustration about that. I think with Kim, he's going to break that. He's going to really try to bring the action to the gates of the enemy. And if anything, either succeed in creating plays for others or scoring himself, or drawing a foul in the penalty area, or doing something that will bring the Rangers a result. So I think you guys should be very excited about that, and I'm excited as well to seeing him play. And at the very least, there's a fear in me that, like, let's say he's a bust, he's a complete flop. Like, people are telling me, Celtic fans are telling me, oh, they're gonna treat you like that Albanian dude that hyped up his guy, and I'm like, I don't even know who this guy is, number one, but hey, that's fine. I can take it. But I do think at the very least, he's going to be a great asset to the team, that he's going to bring value on the team, whether he scores goals and assists or not. He'll actually play a part in the scoring of goals, whether it's through him or by other people. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. I think it's an exciting time for the Rangers fan base, and I'm excited to see Kim play on this greater stage. And I look forward to how he can make a name for himself for club and country.
I completely agree with you, and that's one thing, again, from your clips that you've been putting out. In Scotland, we would say he's a bit of a unit. I mean, he's absolutely massive. I mean, he's a tank. Yeah. And I hope that we sign more Korean players so that we can get you on, Joel, to talk about it. But thank you so much for coming on. Just tell people again where they can get you, and anything you've got coming up to promote. Let us know about it.
Yeah, you guys can, if you want to follow and get the latest for Kim Min-soo, especially from the Korean perspective, from Korean news, because Koreans, we love our players, so we do a lot of interviews. A lot of content creators fly over and do special things with our players, and these opportunities actually provide very revealing glimpses into the club that even domestic foreign clubs don't even really get. So if you guys want to see all that and get a different perspective of Rangers from the eyes of a Korean, Kim Min-soo, feel free to give a follow at KNTFootball on X, and as well as my YouTube. A whole bunch of Rangers fans from the Rangers Review. I think they were so kind. They were so nice to me. They all follow me. Thank you guys for that if you're watching this. But yeah, I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel. And so if you guys can give a subscribe, I would really appreciate that. And I promise I'll be releasing Rangers content. Last but not least, I don't just cover Kim, I cover other players abroad. So please be patient if I'm spamming your timelines when another player, makes it. But just trust that I will always cover our players. And especially since so many of you guys follow me, I take that into account. And I'll always be regularly putting content up on our account. So thank you guys for embracing me, and I thank you, Kyle, for having me. It's been an honor.
No, I appreciate that. And listen, Joel, that's you. You're entrenched. You're part of the Rangers family now. So that's it. There's no way out. But thank you to everybody for tuning in and watching, and we'll see you all again soon.